respect a man if he's got his pumpkin spice latte thing going on.
For sure.
Excellent.
So what do we got going on? So how's your group going?
Well, my group's going great, and that's what inspired the conversation I was hoping that you and I could open up and talk about, because I know you've got some super powerful insights about this stuff, and I thought we could jam on it a little bit. We've been having, so like I was saying just before you came on camera, you know, we're in week 2 of the Dad's Edge program, and right now there's a pretty robust conversation going on in our group about forgiveness, right? And we're really unpacking some stuff. Some guys are really taking a look at where in their lives they've been throwing blame and lack of forgiveness around, like they're not really, like it isn't of consequence, and that there's been a lot of leftover shame and regret for guys about things they're like have never forgiven themselves for, about things that happened long in their past, things out of their control. And I thought that was something that we could just jump into and chat a little bit about.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Okay, forgiveness, you know, and it's you know, I tell you, I'm of two minds on forgiveness, and I'll let you know, and I'll address both of them. First is the basic concept. By the way, first off, I see Nick, Madish is here. What's up, dude? Amy Evans, my love. What is going on? I see Christy, a whole bunch of cool people. What is going on, guys? What a cool crowd we got in here right now. So, two thoughts on forgiveness. One is the one that we know about. Look, forgiveness is not about exonerating somebody else. Right. Forgiveness is about freedom, right? Forgiveness is about I deserve freedom. I deserve peace. That's what forgiveness is. It does not release that person of their responsibility. It does not exonerate them of their own thing. What it does, it means I'm not going to carry it around anymore. Right. I will not bear the burden of what somebody else did any longer.
Yes.
The fact of the matter is, if you're 5 years old and your parents leave you out in the rain, that's on them. If you're 46 years old and you're still out in the rain, that's on you. And you can sit out in the rain and not forgive them for what they did, and that's all fine. However, you are now responsible for it.
Right. You know, I like to talk about it as your side of the street, right? Like there's two sides of the street to any situation that ends up with us living from a place of regret or shame or feel like something's been done to us. And we can't be responsible for what happens on the other side of the street, right? Like what happens over there, what you did over there, how you deal with it, that's on you. I can't change the past and I can't fix what's going on with you, but I can be responsible for what's going on over here. And it's kind of like this double-edged sword, right? Like we have a responsibility to own our side of the street. And part of that is giving ourselves doing the work, right? Doing the work, but having the willingness to forgive ourselves for choices we made in the past, right? Like being willing to own it in such a way that it doesn't have power over us anymore. And that's like a new conversation for a lot of guys.
Here's what I want to say about that. Because when we get into forgiveness, we have like self-forgiveness, we have forgiveness of others. And here's what I want to say about that. If I don't believe that absolutely every single person is doing the best they can with what they have in this moment, then I am not doing the best I can with what I have in this moment. And I have an analogy for that. You remember the first Terminator movie, right? When Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's in the hotel, and the bellboy or whatever knocks on his door, and you like look through the Terminator's eyes, right? And there's this list of possible responses, right? Right. And you watch his selection process, and he chooses one. right? And he says whatever the response is, and then the bellboy responds, and you see him go through this process again. Now he has a new list of responses to this, and he ends up saying "fuck you, asshole," and the guy, you know, fucks off or whatever.
Right.
And the fact is in every single moment of our life, we are looking through our own like Terminator heads-up display of possible decisions.
Yes.
Right? And we choose consistently the one that we think will have the greatest possible outcome, right? The best possible outcome for us. And the fact of the matter is the true choice that will indeed have the best possible outcome is not always on that list. We can look back in retrospect and go, I wish I had done this. But the fact of the matter is doing that may not have been on your little Terminator pop-up, heads-up display of your choices in that moment. Your choices consisted of this, 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 or this. And you went, and in that split second, that flash of an eye, you're like, this is the one I'm going to go with. I think this is one is going to work out the best in this moment, right? And in all of these moments in our lives, like that's what we have. And the best possible decision may not have been one of your choices. So if I understand that in every situation in my life, I made the decision that I thought was going to have the best possible outcome, that means that everybody else did too. That means so did you. That means so did my mean old alcoholic, child molesting fucking redneck grandfather was doing the best he could. And he really, like, I don't know what was going on in his mind. I know that he was doing the best he could with the sickness that he had. And you know, my parents didn't make the best decisions in the world, but they were the best decisions they were capable of making of the choices that they believed they had. They made the choices that would do the least, that they thought would do the least amount of damage and propel our family in the best possible direction. Whether it did that or not, that is what they thought, that is what they did. And I look at the choices that have landed me in the worst like in the worst situations in my life. And every single time I thought of all the choices I could have made, that one was going to work out the best.
Yes. Right. And if we don't take like, and it's up to us, right? Like it's up to us to recognize that our pull down menu doesn't actually provide enough choices. Right? Like it's like in your analogy, right? It's like we assume that it's, you know, like there's A, B, and C. I got the drop down menu, A, B, and C. Like you get a drop down menu in your Chrome browser. Here's my drop file, save, copy, do, right? But if you know, if your drop down menu doesn't include some sort of a result that you know is going to be better than what you normally get, it's up to us to upgrade our software, to upgrade our list.
Right.
And part of that, like, and a lot of guys just don't even know that their list doesn't include new options. Like, did you know you could upgrade your list? Did you know there are other options that are available? And that's one of the, I love your analogy, but for me, it's a little more powerful in the idea like that for many guys out there, that they don't know, or for many people out there, they don't know that there's another option available. They don't, it's like one of those, they don't know what they don't know. They always know what they've always had, but they keep getting results they don't want. And yet they go, I'm not getting the results I want, but I'm going to, you know, like, but I'm still going with those three things that drop down. I've got only three, so I'm just going to keep going with one of the three.
Right. No, exactly. And what we don't know is exactly what you said, is we get to upgrade. We get to continually learn. We get to continue to do that bathroom mirror work.
Right.
We get to continually upgrade, but we cannot look back and hate myself for picking one of the options that was the only options that I had.
Right.
You know, in that moment, you know, it was walk out of the party, cheat on my girlfriend, you know, make a scene, whatever. I chose to cheat on my girlfriend. Like that was what I chose, because I thought that, you know, like it would cause the least amount of like like social ripple. I could easily explain it. I didn't think I'd get caught, and I didn't have to walk out of a bedroom in front of a bunch of people who now know that I was A, in there, B, some weird shit was going on, and so we look at these like these really uncomfortable moments in our life when we look back, and I go, I beat myself up for cheating on my girlfriend. The fact of the matter is, it was the best decision. It was the decision I thought was going to work out the best.
Right.
And so what I can do moving forward is upgrade the software.
Right.
Right. But I can't look back at old software and go, man, from this vantage point, I wish I had done that. Well, that wasn't your choice in that moment.
Right.
Not ending up in that room wasn't your choice in that moment.
Right. Exactly. It's like, why didn't you call in 1975, why didn't you call your mom and tell her you're going to be late from your cell phone? Well, because I didn't have a cell phone back then. Can't go back in time to make that stuff happen. I didn't have that wasn't an option for me now. But it is, I love.
So what I chose was hitchhiking, and it created a whole other situation.
Right. So, the options, the opportunities are really for us. And I'd love to sort of get your take on like this piece about, and I know where I stand on it, but I'd love to hear where you stand about it. Like where guys holding on to blaming themselves, and like this, like there's this, like the patina of the silent shame, because every man I know knows it. Every man I know knows it somewhere in their life. And
and what it is it is going back. It is looking back and going, you should have known better, right? You should have done better. You could have done better.
Right.
Why didn't you do better? Right. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Is I want to take today's knowledge. I want to take today's capabilities. I want to look back at that man, and I want to judge him from the standard of who I am today. And even tomorrow, I will be a better man than I am today. So tomorrow, judging the decisions that I made today based on who I am tomorrow is unfair.
Yeah, it's totally unfair. It's totally unfair.
It's unfair. And so what I need to do is I need to forgive that man. I need to let go. I need to understand that I made the best possible decision, and let go of the idea that my drop-down menu today is the same as my drop-down menu yesterday. It wasn't. It wasn't the same. If my drop-down menu today was available to me yesterday, I wouldn't have made the same decision. It's not the same.
Absolutely. It's incredible. It's incredibly unfair. It's incredibly disempowering. And it's like this frigging anchor that leaves us where we started. It leaves us feeling like we're 12 years old or 20 years old or 30 years old, or at that point when we got divorced, or when we got addicted, or when we made that, drinking and driving poor choice, or whatever that thing was.
Right.
It's
well, it's the question we ask is how come I didn't, I should have known this then. I should have. And what we're doing is we are playing God, right? And we're going back and we are assigning what I should have known in that moment. We're assigning we are assigning blame for not knowing how that was going to work out, And what it is it's playing God. One of the big things when I talk about forgiveness, and it works with ourselves, is in order for me to forgive, first thing I have to do is I have to judge. Not only do I have to judge, but I have to judge you as wrong. You, sir, were fucking wrong, and you did this thing to me, right? And whether I'm looking in a mirror or I'm looking at somebody else, what I am doing is I'm taking today's self, I am using today's knowledge, I am looking at a past act, I am judging it, I am judging it as wrong, and I am determining from my like high moral standpoint that I am going to allow it, I am going to forgive it, and instead of going, that happened, there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
The decision that was made was the decision that was made. And forgiving myself is exactly the same as forgiving somebody else. In that, I have to understand that everybody is acting at the level of their own knowledge, the level of their own enlightenment, the level of their own understanding, the level of their own spiritual development in the moment that they acted.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I want to give a shout out. Roberto's here. Carl's here. Simon's been posting up a bunch of comments, which is really great. Yeah.
Oh, Simon's amazing. He's such a cool guy.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep trying to keep track because his comments are so good, but I'm trying to listen to you at the same time. You guys are killing me here.
Right?
No, but it's really interesting because it's like forgiveness is our gift that our more enlightened self, our more evolved self today can give our past selves. Right? And we can give to others as well. Right? Like we can gift it to others. When we're trying to find, I was supporting a young man online who was trying to create a relationship with his children who he's estranged from, and they had a tumultuous divorce. And we were having this very conversation about, creating an opportunity for forgiveness, forgiving themselves, finding a way to forgive their spouse as an avenue to creating a way forward for him to get access to his kids. Because, you can be angry all you want. You can go to court all you want. You can pay lawyers all the money that you want to, but there's no guarantee, and it doesn't make it any more likely that you're going to be able to do that. But if you're more committed to the result, then you may actually just find that the more difficult route, the more challenging route, the route of actually finding a place to forgive yourself and others is a more effective route to getting that very thing that you seek.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. The one thing, and I say it over and over again because I deal with a lot of forgiveness, with my clients. Men and women. Men have a hard time forgiving themselves. Women have a hard time forgiving other people. Generally, I'm not writing canon here, ladies and gentlemen. But men have a hard time forgiving themselves for their actions. The fact of the matter is, forgiveness paves the way forward for everybody, and it is so important that we understand that forgiveness, and I say it 1,000 times, forgiveness is not exoneration. That piece of shit did what that piece of shit did, right? Like whether it was you making a poor decision, whether it was a perpetrator doing what they did, that piece of shit did what that piece of shit did. For whatever reason they did it, I cannot explain it. I cannot go back and make it not happen. We cannot go back and change the past. Now we're playing God. Mm-hmm. What I can do is in this moment decide it is no longer going to affect my decisions moving forward. My willingness to trust others, my willingness to engage others, my disposition toward my ex-wife, like whatever it is, like in this moment, I can choose that thing that happened in the past is no longer going to color my future.
Yes.
And once I decide that, and by the way, if you decide that and then you go back on the decision, you didn't actually decide it. What you decided was telling myself this story will make me feel better in the moment.
Right.
Right?
Right.
If you're going to decide it, you need to decide it. And it is only a decision if you carry it with you. And even when it is difficult, you stick with it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And, there's a time and place for forgiveness, and some people aren't there. Like it's like there's also space for people who are like, yeah, I'm not ready to forgive them. Right. Like I'm not ready to forgive them for what they did. And if that's where you're at, that, more power to you, your choice. And if, then whatever you've got going on right now is going to be more of the same of what you're going to continue to get.
Right. But what a great piece of personal awareness. What a great piece of I'm not ready to forgive them.
Yeah.
Like, and that's fine. Understand, like, that's cool. I get it. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
Know that that means you get to continue to carry that, though. That's what that means. You will continue to carry whatever that thing is. You're not ready to forgive. You're not ready to forgive. I'm not the arbiter of anybody's of anybody's state.
Right.
But if you're not ready to forgive, that means you're not ready to set it down and walk away from it. And forgiveness is setting it all the way down and walking all the way away from it, not setting it down with a leash attached to it and then dragging it with you for the next 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Forgiveness is setting it all the way down and leaving it there forever. Amy Evans says, forgiveness releases someone from a prior relationship with you so they can show up differently in your life, including not at all. And that includes your relationship with your old self.
Yeah, super solid. And,
Amy's brilliant, by the way.
With those words, she certainly is. What I think is really interesting too is like, we got to have a conversation about, luxuriating in blame, right? Like, it's really easy to like not forgive somebody, to continue to blame them, to complain about the life you're living, because it's much more comfortable to put somebody else at responsibility and fault for the way you're living your life than to own up that you have something to do with it.
Right. And because I speak an analogy, it's like shitting the bed. Okay? When you shit in your bed, as long as you don't move, it's warm and comfortable. If you shit in your bed, as long as you don't move, you are warm and comfortable. Okay? It's nice, right?
Yep.
It's soft, it's warm, it's whatever. The problem is the moment you move, you touch a cold spot. You begin to smell it. And you realize it's shit. As long as you don't move, you're comfortable, except you're laying in shit.
Yes.
Right? That's the problem, is yes, you're comfortable, and yes, you don't mind it so much, but you're laying in shit.
Absolutely.
Once you move, it gets really uncomfortable, and you get in that moment, you get to choose whether you're going to say, somebody shit in my bed, right? Which now I get to hate somebody for, I get to be mad, I get self-pity, all kinds of good stuff.
Right.
Or I get to go, there's shit in this bed, and then deal with it.
Yeah.
Right? And whether I did it, you did it, somebody else did it, somebody broke into my house and shit in my bed for me. Like, whatever that situation is stops mattering until I'm no longer laying in shit.
Yeah.
And once I'm laying in shit, then who cares who shits? Who cares where it came from? The fact that I'm not laying it anymore is what's important to me.
Right. And, to further the analogy, at some point you got to get up, and you can't just walk away. You got to clean it up, because that's your bed. You got to go back to it at some point. And
that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. And so when we luxuriate in blame, because self-pity is so warm, it's so gooey, it's so
cozy,
delicious.
It's like a blanket.
Right. So is shit.
Dave and I have created a shit blanket for you today in our Facebook Live. We'd like to thank you for being here.
Right. But that's the point, is it is only warm, it is only cozy, it on the initial out, because we lay in blame, what happens is we don't progress, we don't grow, we don't move on from it, we stay energetically, we stay emotionally, we stay intellectually attached to this thing.
Yes.
We stay attached to this moment, we stay attached to this decision, we stay attached to its repercussions.
Right.
And you use the the imagery of an anchor, and I don't think there's anything more appropriate to apply to this idea of blame and blaming somebody else or blaming myself. It's either self-pity or it's other pity, whatever. It is an anchor. And an anchor's job is to keep you from moving. That's what an anchor does.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It stops growth, it stops movement. And when we stop, I mean, I quote him all the time, my boy Kenyon Zitska, Navy guy, like career Navy guy. And he goes, that only a ship in motion can change course. Only a ship in motion can change course. And when you drop anchor, you cannot change course.
Yeah. Nice. That's totally right on. That's totally right on. And and it's not uncommon, right? Like, even with, people go, well, yeah, forgiveness is like forgetting it ever happened. No, you never forget that it happened. Every now and then it may quietly be calling you, but you get to choose. If you've really forgiven someone, it really doesn't have any power anymore. You may get that whisper like, yeah, but they did that thing back in 92, and you're like, yeah, but we forgave that. So we're going to move on now. Right. Like it's almost like having a conversation with your like petulant teenage self, right? Like your petulant teenage, like, that's not fair, man. They stole my Camaro and then they took it and they did donuts and they got a big dent in the door. And you're like, yeah, but you know what? We're moving on from that because that's not really serving us right now. Does it serve you, right?
You don't even own it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, and does it like the bottom line is the simple question is like, does it serve you? Does it serve you? Is living this way where you are not forgiving yourself or you're not forgiving others, is it serving you? And, for those of you who are saying, no, but I can't stop it. Allow me to share with you something uncomfortable. It's because you're not choosing to. You're not willing to do the work. It's easier to stay in pity and blame and fear than it is to do something different. And, more power to you. Know what that looks like. Was there for years, but you get to choose. You get to choose. And man, the velocity that's available on the backside of almost every forgiveness that you create out there is extraordinary when you're willing to do it. But nobody can do that work for you. Nobody can do that work. It's like you can hire an amazing coach like Dave. You can hire him, but if you're unwilling to do the work, Dave can't do the work for you. Dave can't do the work for you, and he's likely going to fire you shortly after. But he can't do the work for you. Anybody you go see, you can watch motivational videos all day long. You can go work, it's like watching, the diet and the nutrition and the fitness videos and like watch that over and again. They go to the motor, man, now I get pumped up, and then you don't go to the gym. Or you're eating ice cream at 10 o'clock at night, or, or fried food, twice a week. Like, hey man, if you're not getting the results you want with your diet and exercise, you might want to take a look at what actions you're taking. What are you choosing? What are you doing that's allowing this to continue?
Right. No, when I, you hit it, when I coach people, one of the things I tell them is, look, I'm the guy with the flashlight. You're the guy with the shovel, right? Like that's it. I stand there with a flashlight. As a coach, that's my job.
Yeah.
I believe in you. I'm happy to guide you. I am happy to walk you through this process, but I'm the guy with the flashlight. You're the guy with the shovel. And if you ain't digging, you ain't get what you're looking for.
Right.
But you're paying me to be the guy with the flashlight, and I will stand there with a flashlight all fucking day and watch you not dig. I don't give one fuck. Your job, you paid me to stand there with a flashlight.
Right.
Right? And when you are not getting the results that you want, and you look up at me and go, I'm not getting the results I want, and I go, yeah, I know, because you're not digging. I know. Right.
See that rock over there? The one we've been pointing the flashlight at for a while? Still there. Still there.
Still there.
That's a shiny shovel in your hand.
right?
It's a shiny shovel.
Shiniest of all shovels. And I know what you
That is
paid for that shovel.
That's a fine shovel. That looks like
That's
it's got a plaque on it. It looks like you've held
Oh,
it for years. You protected
right.
it well, right?
Yeah. And if you don't employ it, that's cool. Then hire the next coach to point a flashlight at the rock,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Maybe it'll be a brighter flashlight or a different color.
Right. And maybe that'll get you to maybe that'll move the right. No, unless you employ the work. So unless I actually do the work and forgive, I don't get the freedom of forgiveness. If I don't forgive myself, if I don't forgive my parents, my grandfather, that old boss, that old girlfriend, that old whatever, I don't get the freedom of that forgiveness.
Yeah.
By the way, the people you are forgiving, by the way, almost invariably don't give a fuck whether or not you've forgiven them.
Right.
Almost invariably.
Right.
Don't give one fuck whether or not you've forgiven
And by
them.
the way, it's not about them anymore. It's not
Right.
about them, because whatever that thing is that happened, it's not happening anymore. It's only
Right.
happening in your world to you. I love what
Resentment.
Simon Kelly pointed out, great piece on the analogy, Simon. Get some blisters on your palms, right? Like, that's the thing. That's the going to the gym. That's the thing. That's the thing where you go and you're doing that's where you do the work. And you're like, damn, I got some blisters on my hand. That hurt. That's uncomfortable. Yeah, it is. But if you keep digging, you know what happens? They turn into calluses, and then you have stronger hands, right? But
Yes.
that's what it takes to go from here to there.
Right.
And
right. And when we sit in resentment, because resentment is lack of forgiveness. That's all it is,
Yeah.
right? And resentment, from the Latin sentia, meaning to feel, the prefix re, meaning to fucking do it again.
Right.
What we are doing when we are not forgiving is we are experiencing resentment, which is to re-feel as though it is happening right now. And how many of us go back 12 years, 20 years, 30 years, 6 weeks, and re-feel an event as though it is happening right now? The event's gone. That thing has happened. The results have already come and gone, and we are re-feeling as though it is happening in this moment until we can forgive it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it can feel like it's happening right now that way.
Yep.
It can feel, even though you're the
Absolutely.
only one having that experience. You can be in a room full of people who are all happily having a conversation, and you're quietly tortured over something that doesn't exist, hasn't existed in years, and is not a reality to anybody except you, and the only reality it lives in is in your head, where the work needs to happen.
So you are suffering the pain of your own imagination. Congratulations.
Absolutely. And you get to be the source of what's going to change it.
Right.
Solid. Ooh, this is awesome.
There you go.
There you go. Dave, thank you so much for coming in and bringing your special. You put a lovely patina on this conversation that I appreciate.
I appreciate that, brother.
And this has just been this, just to give you a thing, right, man? This has just been this most robust conversation inside our group. And I know it's something that you work with on a regular basis. I work with individual clients. You work with individual clients. I'm seeing it in my group program, The Dad's Edge. And it's just so great to watch, watch all these guys grabbing shovels and going, yeah, so here's the story. Here's where it's impacting me. This is how I've been holding it as true in my life. And I'm no longer willing to own it that way. I'm willing to let it go. And it's such great work, and it is, it's our life's work. But we build a muscle to do that today, and it's available to us tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next time something happens.
For sure.
For sure.
For sure. Once you buy the hammer, you can use it for more than just the project you bought it for. And that is the point of developing these tools. That is the point of developing it. Because now I have a hammer that can build, you know, the hammer I bought, I needed to just, you know, nail down some baseboards. I can build a building with it. I can build a house with it. I can build a lot with it. But I needed to buy it and learn how to use it first.
Indeed. Indeed. Dave Gieselman of the Daily Diesel. Hey, if people want to follow you, where do they follow you?
You can find me at Dave Gieselman here on Facebook. Become-limitless.com is my website. I'll throw up a comment on this. But yeah, I am here. Follow me on Facebook. This is where the majority. This is the gateway to everything I do. You can get to my scheduler via Facebook, via my website, and everything else. If you are looking for me, you can find me here. Click on my name, hit add friend, hit follow, whatever. Shoot me a comment, shoot me a private. I am happy to talk to people. It is what I do all day. It is what I love, and connecting with other humans and making a huge impact is the reason I'm here.
It's the reason we're here. All right, brother. Well, Dave, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining us here at Heroic Fatherhood. Peace.
Thank you, Amy. I'll see you, brother. Take good care.
See ya.
Bye.